What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Limbo. This is not Limbo gameplay because we beat the game. This is a Limbo analysis that I wanted to do. This is like a follow-up to after the game to just give you my thoughts overall. I did a brief, like maybe 1 minute, if that 30-second, when I beat the game, but I figured I wanted to just, go back, gather my thoughts on the game, and just give you guys a rundown of what I think of the game. So before we get into it, I did enjoy the game. I hope you guys enjoyed the game too. If you got a chance to play it, if you didn't play it, if you want to play it now, it was very enjoyable. I want to mention that this video here, this is just my this is 100% my opinion. None of this I claim to be facts. None of this I claim to be what you should think. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and these are just kind of my opinions. So I figure it's gonna be a quick video. I'm not gonna keep you guys for a long time here, but we're just gonna run through some things quick. Before I get into the story and stuff, I want to get the things like the graphics, the music, out of the way, and the gameplay. So let's just start with the simple stuff. So we'll start with the graphics. This is an older game, and I think the graphics are actually pretty great for a game of its age. The style they used, using the black and white, is actually nice, because over time, maybe 10 years from now, the game is still gonna have its, it's still gonna look just as good. It might fade a little, but it's still gonna look good because of its simplistic design. As you're playing, the graphics stay consistent. I also enjoyed the facts that while you're playing, you got you got what's around you, what's ahead of you, what's behind you, things like that. But you also have in the background occasionally, you'll see things. Like I remember, for instance, you do the anti-gravity part, and when you would touch the gravity thing, in the background there was a tire that would also be affected by the gravity. So it, made you feel like there was a bigger world than just this side scroller that you do. So, and then there's the music. So I enjoyed the music as well. It kind of fades into the background while you're playing, but it's so much so that even though it's kind of faded and not really there, you still have it in the back of your mind, and it adds to the suspense and drama of the story. You get to the parts where the spider is chasing you, and the music is suspenseful enough, it wants to keep you going, it gets your heart racing, things of that nature. So music all in all is great. Then we get to the gameplay. It's real simple, easy to grasp. There's no tutorial. The game starts, you're a dude inside, you just it's just a screen, and the dude is just kind of laying there. So it starts, it gets you right into it. You don't really need a tutorial. You kind of just learn things as you go. The main gameplay of it, there's no talking. As you guys saw throughout the gameplay, if you played it before, there's no talking, but it's storytelling in a great way, where there's no need for talking. Its mainstay is around puzzles. So the puzzles start out pretty simple when you're running from the spider, and you have to let the spider step on. There's the one part where the spider steps on the log, and the log lifts up as it steps on it so that you can jump across. Simple things like that, to a gradual, more difficult part, like towards the the middle of the game, with all the anti-gravity puzzles, things of that nature. It gets generally difficult, where you're to a point where you have to, sometimes you're gonna have to just sit back, maybe put the controller down, and just think for a minute. So it's great in that sense. It makes you think about your next moves, and I like games like that make you think a little. It's not just run around and you know what to do. You just kind of run around and kill things or whatever. Not that those games aren't bad. It's just sometimes using your brain isn't all too bad. So that's the simple stuff. So now I wanted to get into the the juicy stuff, the story, because even though there is no talking and there's no there is still a storytelling. It's a storytelling by it's like a thought-induced storytelling. So I just want to give you my thoughts. This is the 100% opinion part. Like, this whole thing has been an opinion, but this I read what other people thought of the game, and this is kind of just what I got from playing the game. So I wrote some notes down. I should also mention too, there are spoilers in this next part, so if you haven't beaten the game yet, you might want to stop the video now, play the game, and then come back to this part later, because there are spoilers. So we'll start with the simple question: what is Limbo? So Limbo is the side-scrolling, whorish adventure of a boy in search of his sister inside Limbo. Now we know that from the beginning. They tell us this before you start the game, before you download the game. They tell you that it's a boy in search of his sister. So my assumption is the boy enters Limbo after discovering his sister is already inside. It's an interesting thought, but I kind of that's what you could kind of come up with, that he enters Limbo to get his sister. But I mean, it is an interesting thought, but to me that's kind of actually false. I actually believe, since the title is Limbo, everything in the world is already dead. So now that I say that, you got to think, well, what exactly is Limbo? So the definition of Limbo is Limbo is a place where people end up after dying. It's a place where you get to finish something you started while you were alive. It's a place between heaven and hell. So it's somewhere where you go, where you finish up one last quest before you're ready to go up to heaven, or even hell, I would assume. So I believe in my thoughts that all the enemies you encounter have some correlation with something to do with while the boy was alive. The spider, for instance, could be a fear of some sorts. The boy could have been scared of the spider. The forest, he could be afraid of forest, things of that nature. So he's also in Limbo to find his sister, but Limbo is putting him through these trials and tribulations before he's allowed to see his sister and move on to the afterlife, where they can live happily ever after, of course. When you get to a part where there's 3 dart shooters, to me, when I think about it a little bit, I feel like those dart shooters could be bullies from a past that the kid encountered, and maybe accidentally, because they're in Limbo, maybe they're dead too, so maybe accidentally the boy finally got the courage to do something about these bullies, and they ended up dying too, so they're stuck there as well. So like I said, I feel like these boys, he has to solve these trials, these puzzles, and if in a simplistic way, the trials in themselves could all be things that the boy encountered in his real life. So alright, so then for instance, the hotel scene, for example, as well, because that hotel scene is probably one of the biggest scenes of the game. It's very historic. The hotel scene, for example, could be where he died, or maybe he died near the hotel, and it was an accident and somebody stored the child inside the hotel. This is just things I thought about. It's like, well, what is the significance of that hotel scene? So like at the end of the game, you do that puzzle where you have to the anti-gravity is going up and down, and you have to jump up to where the saw's at the top. As it flips, and you touch the switch, and then you drop down and you go through what looks like glass. My thought is that the glass shattering at the end could also have something to do with his death. Maybe he was in a car accident. Maybe the flying around is symbolic of the car like spinning out or flying through the air, and he ends up just eventually flying through the windshield and he dies. It's all a possibility, because that's the last puzzle you do before he ends up with his sister. So yeah, at the end you see the girl digging up a grave of some kind, or we assume she's digging up a grave. Could it be her own, or I mean, this is a question I have. Could it be her grave, or is she digging up her brother's grave? I mean, you don't know these things. That's to me, so that's pretty much what I got from playing Limbo. I mean, there are many theories you guys could come up with from playing. That's just what I got. I mean, I read through many comments. Or not, comments. I googled it, and I got through. I went through Reddit things of people's theories and stuff. And after reading a bunch of different ones, like many different ones, I just kind of sat back and thought, well, what do I think? And this is kind of what I came up with. Not saying that I'm right, or even that your theory is right or wrong. It's just my opinion, and I'm open-minded enough here to hear anyone else on this game. As a whole, I think the silent storytelling is what makes the game great. I think the silent storytelling, it opens up the world for years to come to decide for themselves what they think Limbo means to them. It truly does. You can play this game. I could play this game 10 years from now, and I could have a different opinion then when I'm older. You could give this game to your 15-year-old son or daughter, and they could play it, and their opinion could be totally different than yours. Silent storytelling it's a cool way to just kind of get you to think about the game. I suggest you don't just when you play games like this, I suggest you don't just play the game, beat it, and be like, oh, that was cool. Take some time, sit back, and dissect the game itself. Figure out the game's themes. What's the game trying to tell you? Maybe there's a bigger maybe there's a bigger meaning to the game. Maybe there's something the developer is trying to tell you. Maybe Playdead is trying to just show us, something bigger. So that's gonna do it for my analysis. Like I said, that's purely just my opinion. I wanted to make this video to just kind of give you guys my perspective on what I thought of while I played Limbo. I did enjoy the game. It's a great game. Something I could see myself playing again when I'm a little older, get a different perspective on. So yeah, if you guys like this video, please leave me a like. If you want to as well, leave a comment. Tell me your theories. I'd be curious to hear. You watch the Limbo series, or you've played it before? Just drop me a comment. Tell me some of the theories that maybe you think. What do you think about this game? I'd love to read your comments about what you guys thought of the game, personally as a game, and what the game made me think of. How'd the boy die? Why is the boy in limbo? Why is his sister in limbo? Things like that. Just leave me your comments and telling me your theories, because I'd love to get into an open-ended discussion. I'll comment on everyone's comments as well. We can get into a discussion about it. And yeah, so that's gonna do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later. Peace out. Goodbye.